All right, welcome to Beyond the Forbidden. Tonight on the show, I have Melissa Rosales. I believe that's how you say her name. She is a contactee, and she's an experiencer, and she's going to share her story for the first time. This is definitely a treat, an honor, a privilege to have somebody to contact me, reach out to me to share their story for the first time. And hopefully big things will come her way. But Melissa, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm actually kind of nervous because
Me too.
because like I told you before the show, usually I have a shit load of notes. I have a bunch of notes. And for this one, I didn't know where to go because you said you wanted to go ahead and just get on the show and just tell your story. And I don't know anything about you. Normally with researchers that I have on the show or other people, they have a bunch of other interviews or they've written books, so I can write some notes, jot some ideas down. With you, I'm kind of going in just swinging it. So, but yeah, this is definitely a treat and honor, and I'm looking forward to hearing your story. And everybody that's listening, I have no idea what she's going to say. I have a few things like that she emailed me with, but I have no idea where this story is going to go.
I really appreciate you for giving me the opportunity, honestly. Like I mentioned, I wanted to share this before, but I think the universe really wanted me to share it with you. And it's a pleasure to be talking to you. It's a pleasure to be able to share this with you first and everything. So hopefully everything goes really good.
Oh yeah, it will. Cause I love, like we said before the show, I love your energy, and we're going to be kicking this thing off. I'm telling you. But you messaged one of my friends. I believe it was on Facebook. To get, and like I told you, I don't get on Facebook much, but I have a manager that takes care of my Facebook page. I'll let him know what to post every now and then. His name's Peter, by the way. But you were trying to get a hold of me. You messaged me on Twitter, and I'm terrible about checking the messages sometimes. Not all the time. But so, anyways, Peter, he messaged me while I was at work and said, "Man, you got to message this lady back." I said, "All right." And so I messaged you, and that's kind of what kind of got everything like flowing, everything just jiving, I guess. But why did you reach out to me though? Like, what was it that said, let me contact this guy to see if he wants to hear my story?
Um, so honestly, I was kind of like asking the universe for like guidance on what to do because this happened on 2021 in June. So I've been kind of like scared in some kind of way of sharing my story because I don't know how people is gonna react. And literally like a month ago, like 3 weeks ago, I asked the universe, I was like, just give me a confirmation. Like, give me a confirmation that something did happen and that like I'm not gonna go just talk and people's gonna think I'm crazy. And literally 3 weeks later, I go on Facebook and your your page comes up and it's like somebody talking. I think it's I don't know how to
Phil
say his last
Schneider.
name.
Phil
Phil.
Schneider.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like speaking to what he thought and he like saw or something like that. And it was literally super similar to my story. Like it was super similar. And it was kind of like, ding, like, yes, this is it. And then I went, asked my husband if I should do it. I showed it to him and he was like, this is your confirmation. And then I DM you on Facebook and I was scared because I feel like a lot of people, when they have a bigger platform, they don't really like let people come to them. They'd rather search people that are already famous, they've been in platform and everything. So I was scared that I was gonna get ignored. And then he actually like Peter responded super fast, like within minutes. He
He's
responded.
good.
Yes, and then he told me he was gonna text you. And like during that time I got super nervous. I started walking around the house and I was like, he's probably not gonna reply back. And I told my husband, I was like, baby, I don't know what to do. I think he's not gonna reply back. Am I crazy? And then I DM you on Twitter too, because I was like, I need like a response as soon as possible. And then you ended up replying. And I was like, even after you replied, I was like, what if like it's not gonna happen? Like what if like something stops us or something like that? But I'm really grateful that I'm here Thank you for giving me the opportunity, like again.
The pleasure is mine. Like I told you, I've had a bunch of people that's contacted me before, but I believe that they were trolls, and I was very cautious. I've even had somebody say that they were a they were a part of the Homeland Security or Department of Defense out of Washington D.C. And then now I could have went forward with that. Peter knows the rest of the story, but that's just a story for another day. But so I guess before we get any like into too many details, Melissa. So I want to try to go in chronological order as best as we can with your experiences. So to help people better understand the listeners what's going on, and the ones that'll be watching this and listening to this, just the audio version also. Take us back to the very beginning. When did everything start? Like, take us back to your childhood, if you believe it started there.
Um, I honestly believe everything started when I first had my spiritual awakening, and it was on January, like of 2021. That's whenever I start like having kind of experiences with energy and feeling like things are like not from here. Like, and I start having like a lot of visions actually. Like at the beginning of whenever I was a kid, I actually didn't believe in none of this. I was like raised to not believe in aliens, to not believe in dragons, not believe in none of these things. And literally like on January 26th of last year, like my life just changed completely. I had my spiritual awakening. My husband was there with me, and I started questioning everything. I was like, does what it like is everything that I've been taught real, and is like everything that like that I experienced, is it real or is it fake and
Mm-hmm.
everything? And then it got to a point where like on May of last year, I started asking the universe. I was like, universe, if something bigger than us exists, let me see it. Like if aliens really exist, let me see it. I have never like when I tell you like I don't know nothing about aliens. I don't know about constellations. I don't know nothing. Like I didn't believe. I don't know what different type of races there was. Nothing. And I kept asking and I kept asking, kind of like testing. You feel me? Like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
show me it's true. Like give me something to believe. And then I started experiencing weird things. Like I don't know if you ever feel like you've been stuck on a parallel life where like you got
Yeah.
right.
Yes. Oh, yes. Like
I, I thought I
I
was
feel
the
like
only one.
I feel like well, I've been in, like I told you before the show. I didn't mean to cut you off, and please
No,
don't
it's
forget where
okay.
you were. But I feel like I wake up every day and I see the rest of the world racing around like this hamster wheel, this craziness, and I feel like I am not a part of this world. You know what I mean? I feel like I
Right.
belong out there. I feel like these
Mm-hmm.
people are nuts. But anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead. This interview is about you. Go ahead and complete your what you're about to say.
Yeah. But yeah, so I kept feeling like, yeah, like I was stuck in a parallel life. And then one day we were watching a movie, and I'm gonna mention Will Smith. And to me, like it is important because it was kind of mentioned to me there. But we were watching this movie. Have you ever watched the movie After Earth with Will
Y-
Smith and Jaden Smith?
yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I was watching that movie with my husband. It was like late at night. And I feel like
Sorry to interrupt. When were you watching this movie? Was this back in? Because I'm trying to give everybody groundwork.
yes.
Was this back in January
So
this year, or
no, so it was already on June. So like I had asked the universe for like confirmation on May that like like different beings existed, and then on June I started experiencing like the parallel life, and then we started watching. It was like literally, um, it was like before June 11th. Like I had the experience on June 11th, so it was literally the week before June 11th, exactly 7 days before we were watching this day with the movie. It was like around 11 to 12 at midnight. And when we were watching it, I felt like a presence on my back, like something was watching me, like something was on me, like something like that. And I told my husband, I was like, there's something like here. And he was like, no, like I don't see nothing, I feel nothing. And we're both really like strong at reading energies and feeling energies and everything. And he was like, I don't feel it. And I was like, maybe I'm crazy. maybe I'm just going crazy. I have three cats, and one of them, the oldest one, is Salem. And Salem, before he wasn't too like close to me, and after that movie, after literally we finished watching the movie, he had a shadow on his face, like a shadow that I can't describe. But it wasn't like a regular shadow. Like his eyes were like gray instead
Mm-hmm.
of black. Super weird. And I kept telling my husband, I was like, something is weird with him. Like he has something. He's carrying something. Something is watching me through him. And then like he will follow me and he would try to touch me in a weird way and like kind of talk to me. My cat, he was like doing weird things for a whole week, 7 days straight. He was trying to like, I don't know, it was super weird. And I told my husband, I was like, there's something weird with my cat. There's something weird. And then on June 11th, we had like a group of people over in the house. And a friend brought somebody random. I'm telling you the whole story. I hope like it's
No,
not too
no,
much. I'm
no.
just
This interview is about you to get your story out there. So please, and I'll interject here and there. So
perfect. So yeah, so we had like a party and like we had like everybody together, like new friends and everything. And then this person that I had never met before came to the house. My friend invited him, and it felt like you were talking to the darkest energy you ever seen in your life. Like I feel like I was talking to like a demon. And I told that to my
mhm.
husband, and the whole time we were here,
Who is this
the house was
person? Who is this person?
it was my friend's like friend. Like she
Okay,
invited him
okay.
to our house. Like
You
we
didn't
didn't
really.
even know nothing about him.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know. I never heard about him. Like after that day, he completely vanished from her too, and everything. It was super, super, super weird. And then like he ended up leaving. It was around like 1 or 2 in the morning. Everybody left, and we came to the room. We were trying to watch the movie I, Robot for some reason, right? We tried to watch the movie and we had to restart the movie 5 times because something kept stopping us from watching the movie. Something like either we like start talking or like we start like doing different things that had nothing to do with watching the movie. And it got to a point where like I told my husband, I was like, "Do you see what's going on?" And then as soon as I say that, I start crying and he start crying. Then we both start laughing. Then we both start like talking super loud. And it was like within 1 second. We went from like six different emotions, every emotion possible. We went like within 1 second, like super fast. And I was like, what the fuck happened? What happened? And then immediately I'm not in my body anymore. Like I'm not in my body. Everything is completely dark. And it's like I have my eyes closed, and then I open my eyes and I'm not in like my room anymore. Like I
Wow.
can't see my husband. I can like nothing. And I
Wow.
start freaking out. Like immediately, like, what the hell is happening? I
Yeah.
start looking around and I'm in like huge metallic like spaceship, like huge. And it was like a super
Can I
bright
stop you
metal.
there? Can I stop you there?
Yes. Yes.
When you left your body, where can you describe your surroundings a little bit more?
Yeah.
If
So at first I was in the room, but then it was like we I remember I started crying hysterically, like, but I was crying in a way where like it's like I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it. I have never cried like that. And I
yeah.
felt my body kind of like shaking and everything. And then I just like I saw myself looking up as if my body was leaving my spirit was leaving my body. But then I just went on a completely black, like on the ether. I don't know if you ever been on the ether, but I was like literally on the ether in the middle of nothing. Like
Yes.
it was just super quiet, dark, everything. I was scared because I didn't know what I was doing there. And
Yeah.
I always like knew too that you can't get stuck in the ether if you don't do things right. And you can like
Or
really
the
leave your
void
body. Like you're so
or
exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I started freaking out, and then immediately I was just there for like literally like a minute or so, and then everything started like clearing out, and I opened my eyes, and I was like inside a spaceship.
Hold up,
And
hold up. Before you get
uh
into that, could you hear your husband? And
no,
you couldn't hear anything, but okay. So your physical body is, I guess, I'm assuming
hmm
still there in the room.
yes,
I'm
my
assuming.
physical body, correct. It was like my physical body was completely in the room, and actually, like my husband. saw me, and he like, this is what he told me, and he's actually here if you want to ask him too. But like, it got to a point where like he's I was kind of like convulsion, like having convulsion, where like I was like shaking and just crying, and like my eyes were like not there. It was like white out. You feel me? I was like, and I don't remember none of this. Like I don't like when I was like deeper in, I do remember like asking to get out to talk to to connect with him because I was so like scared. But at the beginning, I couldn't connect with him. Like I was completely
You
out.
so you couldn't feel or anything.
I couldn't like nothing. He said that he
Wow.
was like pushing me and like doing this to make sure that I was okay. But like I couldn't feel nothing. Like I was like not here. Like I
Wow.
honestly thought that I was gonna get stuck out. It was like horrifying in
I've
some
had
kind of
similar,
way.
I know. And we're about to we're about to go next with your experience. But like I said, I like to try to get as much detail as I can.
Yes.
So I guess like how long did it seem did your husband, and we're about to talk about whenever you were inside the spaceship, how long did
Mhm.
your husband say you were out though?
That's the funny thing. He said that I was out for 2 minutes, but I felt that I was out for weeks. Like I
Yeah,
thought I
yeah.
was out for like a whole week, and he said that it was like the most like 5 minutes the most. But I feel like I was like I thought I was never gonna come back. Like it felt like the longest time ever.
And so we need to go ahead and set the record straight with, I've been doing this long enough, Melissa. You're going to have some trolls, you're going to have haters and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I'll ask you a question. Were you tripping on anything?
I'm gonna be honest. Yes, on I was on mushroom. We did like the how do you call that, microdose.
Yeah.
So we did a microdose. We did 1 gram, and then like the night consisted of that. I do want to clear too that like that's how I do get to like my higher. Like
Yes.
people do this, people don't. This is who I am.
Yep.
And it has helped me become a better person. It has helped me like discover things that just like learn
Yeah.
who I really am.
You're on a spiritual journey, and there are
Exactly.
many people that use natural remedies and herbs, like mushrooms, ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
I do ayahuasca too. It's a beautiful experience.
Wow. Maybe we'll save that experience for part two, possibly.
I got you.
Like uh so, and people that are watching this, you're not gonna have any haters with that, because there's a lot of people that I've talked to, I know, and I've done a few things myself. And like when you're on the spiritual journey, you want to get in touch with whatever, with the source, the creator. I don't mean like
Hmm.
God in the Bible and stuff like that. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You want to get as
Exactly.
close to the
Yes.
source, whatever source it is,
Hmm.
and you want to explore yourself. But okay, so I guess let's go and move forward a little bit. Um,
Sounds
so
good.
so you started pulsating, and your
Yes.
husband was shaking you, and
Yes.
it seemed like you was out, you blacked out, you was like in a void, and it
Correct.
seemed like it was an eternity. And then how long were you in that void until you entered the spaceship?
I felt like it was like a whole minute. It felt like longer than a second. I felt like I was like stuck there and I was trying to figure out where to go. But at the same time, I feel like they were trying to confirm if they should bring me in or not. That's what I feel like they were trying to do. And I was like there and I was trying to scream, but I couldn't because there's like no sound.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like I was just kind of paralyzed in some kind of way, like I couldn't do nothing. I was just stuck. So that like scared me a lot. I
I
was
bet.
like
I
freaking
bet.
out. I was honestly freaking out.
So I I've had some experiences, but they weren't that in detail. But so when you got onto the spaceship, I guess go ahead and just start from there. What did it look like inside? Was there anybody in there? Little small
Yeah.
details, anything you can share to the audience.
Yeah. So okay, I remember I was like standing. First of all, the spaceship, it was a round plate, like it was like a round, and it was literally, it was like, I don't want to say silver, but it was like so like
Mm-hmm.
um metallical, something like, like you can see
Yep.
yourself, like, and it was inside, you can see yourself through it. And then I started looking around, and I saw three people in front of me, and it was one, the man was in the middle, and then there was two females around, next to him. The man never, like, the male, he never made eye contact with me, he never looked at me, he never like talked to me. He always like looked either up or down for some reason. The only people that connected with me was the two females.
So a male and two
And
females.
correct.
Okay.
And they told me they're Pleiadians. And like when I was inside, I did notice. So I sent you some videos. I
Yep.
mean pictures. I mean.
Yep.
So this is my drawing of the first one with the circles.
That looks
This
pretty
is
good.
supposed to
That looks pretty
be
good. And I'll also, when I edit this video, I'll also put it on the screen to cover up my
perfect.
part of the Zoom video. So yeah, you can do that. That looked
Yes.
pretty good on the screen for everybody.
Yeah. So this was the spaceship, and you see this big circle here. So that was on the ceiling, and on the ceiling it was this, like, it was kind of a nitrogen liquid. It was like blue, it like make like bubbles and things like that,
Hmm.
and it was the fuel of the actual spaceship.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, so you see how like it has two connecting things here,
Yeah.
like there's one circle here and one circle here, right?
Yeah.
So these two circles are actually roads, and these roads have tubes with people in it. Like,
So is that's the inside the spaceship that you're talking
yes,
about,
this
correct?
is in, exactly. This is inside the spaceship. I'm really bad at drawing. I was like, and then I
No,
did this while I was like, kind of, as soon as I came out to not
you did better.
forget.
You did better than I could. So so
So
so
yeah,
so explain those one more time.
yeah. So this one, the one on the top, was where like all the fuel like is stored, and it's actually a see-through. You can see like the whole liquid, like everything. You can see everything throughout the whole spaceship. And then these two lines here is like the fuel running throughout the whole spaceship, throughout the whole ship. So it runs throughout the whole thing. And then these two circles here is supposed to be like roads of, whenever you watch like movies that they're doing experiments, and they have kind of like either aliens or anything inside tubes with a liquid in it.
Oh yeah,
So
like yeah, my mom just went blank. Kind of like a cryogenic chamber or something like that. Yes, yes. Yeah.
exactly, to preserve them and everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, so these circles here is supposed to be roads full of like kind of like people looking. I wasn't sure if they were humans. They did look like humans, but at the same time I wasn't sure if it was like
So
them too.
so it was these rows, it was these long, how long do you think these rows were?
They were super long. They were like the spaceship. It was, I can't even describe how big it was. It was huge. There was like at least like on each road there was like at least 10 to 15 tubes of those. And there was two roads that go like around the spaceship.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So if you had a guess, if you had a guess, how many people do you think were in those chambers?
I think they were like around 20 to 30.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
And you couldn't tell who was inside the chambers or
Like I honestly I can't, like, I don't want to say it was humans, because at the same time it might have been them, but the whole thing, something that I do want to explain is the beings that I saw, they were super tall. They were taller than me. They were like, I'm 5'6". They were like probably like a lot taller than that, like six something. And their skin was kind of like a golden. It wasn't even like tan. It was kind of like a golden skin, and their hair was like so blonde that it looked like gold. They had the bluest eyes. Like they never spoke to me, like through mouth. It was all telepathically. Like, it was
yeah.
like everything. They never like spoke to me with their mouth. And so the reason why I think that it might be humans on the tubes is because they show me that all the Pleiadians are supposed to be with blonde hair, tall and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who was on the tubes are not. They were like brown hair. It was like some
Just normal looking
females.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so I started like looking at that. They did kind of like show me around. All I saw was like a bunch of like buttons on the machine, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, I remember like we started flying around. And when we started flying around, they took me to their constellation. I'm never, like I said, um, I didn't know about Pleiadians. I didn't know about the constellation Pleiadian either. I didn't know about nothing. But I was like, this is the constellation. You can look it up. It will be a lot more better. But this is like the constellation that I did.
And I'll pop it up on the
Okay, so
screen for everybody too.
yes. So this is the constellation that I have. And they show me that they were like on the star that is like, it starts like this. So the star that is like right here, this one is where they actually live. I don't have the name right now. I can give it to you like once I look it up.
Yeah.
But they told me this was their planet. They took me through there, and once like they took me through they took me through through their planets and everything. That's whenever like they told me that they wanted to like show me something. Once they like told me that is whenever like things just start kind of getting like more serious with them in some kind of way. But like whenever we were flying through the constellation, it kind of felt like we were there for like a whole week. I feel like like I never went inside the constellation, like inside their home and everything. They just like we just flew through it, but like it felt like the whole time that we were flying, we were there for like a whole week.
So I guess before we go into any further, is there any more details that you can give us with these Pleiadians? Did they say anything else while you was on the ship that you could remember or recall? Or
Yes.
not say like physically verbally, because I know everything was telepathic.
Mhm.
Was there any other kind of thing that you may have left out before we move forward?
Yeah, something that they so they actually were whenever they I did forget to mention this, it's super important. So whenever we were going through the and I have everything write it down too. I send you the pictures for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Spanish, but I can translate everything. Whenever we went through the constellation, I actually grew here. I saw the stars. I was on the spaceship that floats, and they show me the constellation, and I have here where it says constellation.
I'm gonna put that on the screen also. What
Perfect. So whenever they start showing me the constellation, they told me that the grays in them actually come from the same kind of like dynasty. They told me that they were all supposed to like grow together and be together, but they said that once like the Greys started learning more about humans and what they can do with the humans, that's when that's whenever they started like decided to like not be with the Pleiadians anymore, and they told me that they went into like a huge war between them two, and
so it was a war between the Greys and the Pleiadians. And,
yes.
and you said dynasty. Were they like a part of some type of galactic federation or something like that?
Yes, exactly. You know how kind of like yeah, like this they're like I guess there's kind of like so they're divided by race, but like
Mm-hmm.
they're not really divided by race. Like people think it's divided by race, but they're really not. They're actually a lot of different races that are together and they have a big kind of like group, you know, that and
Mm-hmm.
some of them are to protect, some of them are to fight, some of them are to destroy.
Yeah.
And so the Greys before they were actually part of the Pleiadians. They were actually and the Pleiadians have a bigger like they have a lot more different races that they work together. But they only showed me the Greys and they told me that yeah they did work together and they like kind of like showed them like what humans are and everything. And that's whenever they kind of became obsessed with humans and they were trying to figure like they learned that they can have hybrids and that they can create with humans and everything like that. And that's when everything like literally started going left. But yeah, it seems like they had like a dynasty and they were kind of like the big ones on like protecting Earth and
Yeah.
protecting like the world.
Wow.
Something that they did mention too is before like they took me on the like back time and everything is they told me that they're not protectors of the earth.
The
They're here
Palladians
to
or the
bring
Greys?
the Pleiadians.
Okay.
They told me that they're not protection. They're not like here to defend Earth and to like fight for the Earth, but they're here to kind of like show support and kind of like to help us awaken ourselves and to help us like be better people. Which is like to which I learned that is kind of like the same message that they have mentioned, like they have given to different people that they're like not kind of like here to a lot of people think that the Pleiadians are like here literally just like fighting for us directly. And
Hmm.
yeah, they are fighting, but they're not fighting for us like directly. There's something that they're getting from us too. And they just want peace because Earth, it is like an important planet. We don't know this. But Earth has like a lot more than just humans and more than just gold and things that they can mine. There's something bigger here that we don't know about, and a lot of different races are trying to fight it and are trying to come here, and it's like they're trying to avoid for that to happen because I guess it is gonna affect like in some kind of way what they're doing or whatever.
So and so with that war, the Palladians, I'm assuming won that war, and they are pretty much you said kind of like the guardians over
Yeah,
Earth.
so they're like not guardians, they're just here to like help us in some kind of way, like that,
That
like they said that they're
yeah,
not protectors of Earth, they're just here to help us like awaken ourselves and help each other, like they're trying to help us help each other.
yes, and they were working alongside the Greys
Hmm.
before the war. Are they working alongside
Yes.
anyone else now?
So they like they kind of showed me that they are working with other people. And remember I asked you for like the person, like the alien that was there at the beginning,
Phil
Thor
Schneider,
something?
Phil Schneider, yeah. You
No,
talking about
like the Thor something
oh
like
Valiant Thor, and Phil Schneider
yes,
talked about Valiant
him.
Thor also. Yeah,
Yeah, so Valiant Thor is somebody that works with the Pleiadians in some kind of way. I cannot I cannot show you in what kind of way, but he was like super, like he was like super bill no how can I he was kind of like spying, like he was helping the get information to the Pleiadians from here Earth to the Pleiadians. So he because after I'm like I don't want to go ahead of what I want to say,
yeah, yeah.
but so I'm gonna bring Thor after because he comes in after the story. But yeah, they are working with different people. I do want to mention too is like the Greys before all of this happened, like the contract and all of this happened, were actually good. They were like not evil. They were like not
So now
as
they
evil,
so now they are evil, and they have their own types of malevolent agenda, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, they're completely they grew a lot more than like anybody expected to, like for them to grow. And we gave them the power too. That's the whole problem.
Like we as human beings here on Earth, or the Palladians gave them the power.
We as as humans, and we as like presidents.
So we gave them the power because there was a treaty with I believe it was Eisenhower with the ETs, or there was treaties back in the day, and they made this
Yeah,
agreement.
so I'm gonna tell you exactly because they actually showed me all of that. So remember how I told you like well, they were telling me about the grades and everything. After they showed me the grades, they took me back to the like I went through this wormhole. Like it's funny because I always ask, are wormholes real? Like
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't exist. Like I watched on the Interstellar, like I think it was Interstellar, the movie, like all
Yeah.
of these movies that talk about, and I was like, it's not real, blah blah blah. And I literally went through a whole wormhole, like
What
the colors,
you was in a
like
spaceship during this?
so we were in, like after they showed me the constellation, they start telling, that's whenever they told me that they wanted to show me something. And that's whenever they started talking about the graves, they started telling me the story and everything. And then they told me that they were gonna show me like what happened in history. And when they did that, we went from the spaceship to like directly through a wormhole. But I was the only one that went through a wormhole. They didn't. So I went through the wormhole, and then I went like, it was so many colors. It was like literally like on a hole, and it was like sucking me in. And then I started just like immediately went to black and white. I started seeing black and white and black and white. And whenever like then they took me to a picture of President Roosevelt. I forgot his first name, but like right before
what was it?
Eisenhower.
Was it Truman or Franklin Roosevelt?
Franklin
Yeah.
Roosevelt, yes. So they took me to him, and they showed me that actually the Pleiadians were supposed to sign a contract with Earth, with him
With
first.
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. And
Wow.
so a lot of people, so they showed me, so they were supposed to like sign the contract, but he didn't want to do, like, he ended up saying yes and everything, but then the day of the contract, the Greys ended up getting a hold of him. And what they showed me on this is that the contract was not signed by Eisenhower. It was actually signed by Roosevelt. And I don't know if you know this, but Roosevelt is actually the only and I learned this same day of the vision. Like, they show me all of this, like the
Wow.
astral projection and everything.
So so
That he
so,
was the first. Uh-huh.
oh, before you say anything, so you was getting these downloads, basically.
Yes, like I was like watching it happen. Like I was like, they sat me on a chair. I was like on a rolling chair, and they sat me, and I was like, they were, whenever like you're like seeing, and they're like passing, like whenever you're on a tablet and you're seeing like pages, like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
just swipe like this,
yeah.
they were like putting, I was like standing in front of a TV kind of, but it was not a TV. I was like in presence of everything happened. Like I was seeing people, I was like there, but they couldn't see me. And they
It
start
was
showing
very
everything.
realistic. It was very realistic.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes. And then like every time like like they show me whatever they want to show me, they like swipe to the next page, and then they start playing everything again. It was kind of like seeing it through a TV in some kind of way, but I was in there too, like with the
Damn.
people and everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. I got you off track with Roosevelt. Go ahead and finish that.
Yes. No. So they show me that he was actually the only president in the United States history that lasted more than two terms. He almost lasted four terms, but he
Mm-hmm.
ended up like dying, which he died mysteriously. So what I was shown is that he actually was the one who ended up, well, the day that he was supposed to sign the contract with the Pleiadians, the Greys came to him, and that's when the Greys ended up having the conversation with him, and they offered nuclear. So the contract with the Pleiadians was supposed to be for, it was kind of, they were gonna give us protection. They were gonna have like different like races help us and protect us. They were gonna, like, they had offered to give us like the spiritual awakening, that enlightening that we need for us to know our true selves. And they offered to give us like everything we needed for like a world to be a happy world, and for everybody to be equal and the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Greys came, and they offer bombs, nuclear bombs. If you search up, the first nuclear bomb was actually right on the World War II. All of this happened in World War II in 1945. The first like nuclear bomb and everything, it was
Yeah.
because of the Greys. It was completely because of the Greys. They gave them the armaments. That's whenever all of the jets and everything started coming out in 1945. You can search it up.
Yeah.
Everything. Area 51 was not built in 1950s, or it was actually done in 1945.
Wow.
All of this was done. They showed me whenever like Area 51 was built. They showed me whenever he signed the contract, everything.
When Roosevelt signed this contract,
Yes,
it was
Roosevelt was the one that signed the
you're blowing
contract.
my freaking mind.
Yes, and after he
So
signed the contract,
mhm.
uh-huh.
Well, I was going to say Roosevelt was initially supposed to sign this contract with the Palladians, and then the Greys came in, or did I get that
Yes.
backwards?
No, yes, yes. They were supposed to sign the contract with the Pleiadians first. Like this whole thing was like that's whenever like so by that time the Grace and the Pleiadians were supposed to be working together. Everything broke up because of the contract because the Pleiadian like I say then the Grace ended up finding out that they can do a lot more with us that they can do just working
Yeah.
with the Pleiadians. And that's whenever they started with the hybrids that they wanted. And so the contract, it wasn't even like just like a contract that we're gonna give you everything and we don't get nothing. No, the contract was we give you everything you want. Power, your country will be the best country in the world. It will be the most prosperous. It will be the most everything is gonna come to you for permission. But we need humans from everywhere in the world. We need different kind of humans. We need this kind. We need this kind. And that's whenever they started doing the swaps like armament for humans like they were it's an exchange like they were kidnapping humans. That's whenever everything started happening like literally after 1945. That's whenever all of the kidnappings comes like everything. That's whenever like more people start coming around that they were being like kidnapped,
Like you talking about like abducted, you know what I mean? Like
abducted. I'm sorry. Yes, yes,
see,
abducted.
this is blowing my mind. A lot of this is, and again, you're getting these downloads.
Yes.
And see, the thing is, I think originally, so the story with the treaty with it's been a long day, but the treaty with the Greys and Eisenhower, that never happened, or it was actually the Greys and Roosevelt.
So it was actually Grace and Roosevelt. But as soon as Roosevelt signed the contract, he regretted it because things started going left for him. And then Eisenhower did contact the Grays and he said he was going to take over whatever he can do. And Eisenhower ended up taking over. And if you see, Roosevelt died of like nothing.
Yeah, and
His
there
his
in
cousin that is
45. Yeah, he
like his cousin there
April
was like
12th of
literally
1945. Yeah.
exactly. And he signed a contract on April. And guess who was there when he signed the
Hold up,
contract?
hold up. Roosevelt signed the contract in April.
Yes.
And it says here he
He
died
died.
April
He died
12th
right.
of
Yes, he
45.
died right after he signed the contract
Why do you think he died?
because he was regretting, like he was regretting, like the fact that he signed the contract with the Grays because things like it was kind of like not going really good because like they wanted like more than what they asked. Like the in some kind of way the Grays are kind of like you give me your hand and I'm gonna take your whole arm and thing. So I guess it was like not working out for him. And this happened super fast too. Like and I tell you, like this is everything that I was like literally seeing through. Like they were showing me all of this. It seems that things were not going well. And that's whenever like he signed a contract at the very beginning of April. Very beginning of April. And things started going left for him. Like the Pleiadians, I don't know what happened with the Pleiadians. They were like, they never showed me what happened with them between that time. But that's when they were like, it seems that Eisenhower ended up getting in contact with the Greys, and it was kind of like he don't want to do it anymore. He like like that. Roosevelt didn't want to do that anymore. He kind of like changed like how to change your heart, and that's whenever they were like, okay, you're gonna replace him, and
Who's you talking about? Eisenhower's going to replace
was gonna replace
Roosevelt?
Roosevelt, and he ended up doing it. And then after he ended up doing it, that's when things ended up getting like a lot more crazier with like all the contracts, with like the kidnapping, with like all of the armament and all of the technology that United States are having. Like United States got technology from one day to the other one, like armaments, planes, like bombs, like
Yeah.
everything. And it was literally because of that. But all of this literally started in 1945. That's why I'm like literally, like the first bomb was thrown in 1945, and it was
Yeah.
during World War II, which they were showing me. It was like heartbreaking, I swear on everything, because they were showing me people like dying on combat. Like,
Mm.
and it was like all in black and white too. So it was like I was seeing it through like the a TV, you feel me? Like it was literally all black and white. And it was like they were showing me like different, like I said, like different pictures. They were like swiping, like they were like, they did this, so these are the consequences. And they start showing me whenever people was getting killed because of bombs, whenever like planes started flying and throwing like arm, like guns and
Yeah,
shit, like
yeah.
like.
So and to kind of go back, how long did this seem to last? I know to your husband it was just a few minutes, but in your mind, how long was it again?
To me, it was like
Yeah,
literally like weeks. Like it was like, to me, I honestly thought like I was like stuck there for like forever, because I was like, it was like I said, whenever we were seeing the constellation, we were like on the constellation for like a whole week. And like they were just like, that's whenever they were like putting me, like showing, like telling me about the grace, and they start like trying to build us this up. And now like that I think and everything, I see the way that they did it, because I feel like they showed me the constellation to kind of calm me down, because I at the beginning I was freaking out. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what were they doing. I didn't know like nothing. I was freaking out. I thought some, like they were trying to kill me, and they were trying to calm me down. They told me that they're like a peace people, that they're peaceful beings,
yeah.
that they're trying to help us be like better out and everything. And then they showed me the constellation. After they showed me the constellation, they told me, that's whenever they told me that the grace like were part of like them, and like they were like part of a whole like dynasty and everything. And that's whenever they were like, now we gotta show you what we're talking about. And that's whenever they put me through like the hole and everything. That's whenever I start going through all the pictures.
Do you think the mushrooms helped open that because you knew something wasn't right before this whole experience? You knew something wasn't right with this whole world, this reality that we live in, and you felt this calling. And do you feel like the shrooms like opened maybe a doorway so that they could contact you?
In some kind of way, I do think it did, but at the same time, it was like the intention. I put a lot of intention on trying to discover what is it that I'm missing, and what is it that
Yes.
I don't know. And I
Yeah.
I tested the universe. I was like it got to a point where I got mad. I was like, I want to believe that this exists, but I can't, because I have never experienced it. I have never
Yeah.
like, nobody has say I have an alien here with me, like a extraterrestrial here with me, like
Mm-hmm.
it's real. You feel me? And then the government has been trying to like close this door for like years since it happened, like ever since it's been like happening. And like it was just kind of like, okay, like it was kind of like in some kind of way. I even forgot what I was saying, but
But
yeah.
but and maybe, and like I said, this may be, we're going to at least have a second part of this interview
Mhm.
because it's so much to digest, so much to
Yes, and I'm not
digest.
even halfway done. It's like
It's so much to freaking digest, and
yeah.
and I'm going to have to watch this interview, take some notes, and try to, because I know I missed a bunch of stuff. And maybe we'll go into a third part of this interview. But back to Roosevelt. Do you think that the reason why he died unexpectedly is because, um, in a lack of better phrase or word, that he pretty much sold his soul to these grays, and then something, and then, what do you think? Is there any more about that we're missing out with Roosevelt, the grays, while we were talking about that a while ago?
I do think that he did. I think that he like did it without knowing that he was doing it. Like, because you know how, for example, like me, I was asking the universe for like, I want to see aliens, I want to see extraterrestrial, I want to see that they're real. And I feel like in some kind of way, like whenever he realized that they were real, that this really happened and everything, it was a lot for him. And I don't want to say all presidents, but I feel like whenever people is high up, they want to be higher. Like they're like, I want to be at the top, so I want to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever I have to do to stay here. And he
Yeah.
did that, and he didn't know what he was putting himself through it. But I do think that he did like saw his soul. I do think that like if he would have not changed, if he would not have signed this contract, he would have been the president for four cycles instead of three.
Wow.
Like
Um,
he had no plans on leaving at all, like the presidency.
and how come there's so many other things I could ask. So many, like I
Mhm.
said, it's a lot to digest. But why didn't the Pleiadians, when they knew that you keep saying kidnapping? I know you're new to this, but what we say, and you, I know you'll learn to say it is people were abducted,
Yes.
like with these alien abductions by the Greys.
Mhm.
So while this was happening, Melissa, why didn't the if the Palladians, I guess to play devil's advocate, if the Palladians are really benevolent and the good guys, why didn't they step in to intervene whenever there is like this friction between the the Palladians and the Greys?
So I was like, I honestly been thinking this because I was like, if y'all so good, why can't like, like when I was processing all of this that happened, like I've been processing this for a whole year and a half now. Like honestly, like and to this day, I still haven't processed everything that happened because it's like literally so much like that I question myself a lot. But like once they signed that contract, they had like nothing else to do for us in some kind of way. You feel me? For example, like, okay, you have, for example, you got two podcasts that they want you to work for them. And one of them is like, I'm gonna give you this, this, and this, and the other one is like, I'm gonna give you millions. You're gonna have everything you want right now. You go with the one that's gonna give you everything right now. What is the other one gonna keep waiting for you? You feel me? Like you
I
already saw your
gotcha.
soul, you already saw your humans, you already like did all of this. Like so right now, like that's what they told me too. They were like, at this point, we had nothing to do other than help you help each other, like humans with humans, like y'all need to start waking up and everything. And that's why there's so many like people who has had like visitations and make contact and they come literally with the same message that the Pleiadians or like whoever they contacted want peace, that they want this to happen because there's a big invasion that is gonna happen. It's like a huge, and it's not gonna be from the Greys, it's not gonna be from the Pleiadians, it's gonna be from a really, really dark entity. And I'm saying that right now.
Wow. And everybody, and that's going to, I may ask a few more things, but everybody that's watching and or listening to this, that invasion will be probably part two. So that's your cliffhanger right there. So you can come back and listen to Melissa, and other things that we missed. Man, I really was not expecting all this. I really wasn't. Um, so and I get what you're saying there, Melissa. I get what you're saying with why didn't they intervene? Because it's to me, okay, I'm about to relate to football. So it's like, let's say Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he has a contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has a contract. The only reason how he can leave, okay, let's say another team, the Palladians,
Mhm.
can't come in and swoop Tom Brady away because he's already signed an agreement, a deal, a contract with the Buccaneers. But the Buccaneers can relinquish that contract and trade him.
Mhm.
So that tells me that they really must honor, and I'm sure there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we may just not know, that they must really honor
Exactly.
these contracts and these deals.
They are gonna honor it because you gotta think like there's always like like there's always something that how can I say like if you mess up like there is gonna be something that is gonna like mess you up like if you don't do something like it's gonna bite your ass like some people
Yeah.
say. So the thing is like let's be honest, so if they sign a contract there's like those little words that is gonna say like those little letters that are gonna say like if you break this contract everybody like the earth is gonna be destroyed or like there's gonna happen this. And I do believe like that if the contract were to be broken there is gonna be like a huge galactic war within the Greys and different people because I don't think the Greys signed a contract by themselves either. I don't think this is just them. They need like a lot more because like I said the Greys like they did have power but it wasn't like for them to have their own like literally like dynasty and everything. They need help from other people. And I do think that this like dark entity that like connected with me while I was like on this vision is had a lot to do, which is like something too. I almost got abducted during that abduction.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so this happened back in this past June or
Yeah, it
July?
happened on June 2021. So June 11th of
June
2021, 6/11/21.
2021. So
Yes.
last year.
Yes.
Okay, my bad. I was thinking June this year.
No.
And so, man, and we're about to end this for just part one. I've got to rewatch this, take notes, and we will definitely fill in the gaps. But so have you talked to your family since June of 2021 about this, like other than your husband? And
Mm, no, because my family don't believe in this, and I'm actually like already like the black sheep of the family, the crazy. Because I'm always posting on my Facebook, "Do you believe in aliens? Have you ever been abducted?" And then like whenever they have memes talking about it, just joking around, I always be like, "Oh yeah, I want to get abducted again because I want to learn something." And people be like, "What do you mean?" And I try to talk to them, and they're like, "You on drugs? Like you crazy? Like you did." So I just decided like that's the whole reason why I was scared to share. Like I was scared for many reasons, but I was like scared of how my family especially was gonna react to this because I don't want to be like, "Oh, you're crazy." But I came to understand right now that at the end it's my life, and if I don't speak my truth, nobody is gonna speak it. And I feel like everybody, like most of people that has shared this with, they if they share this with me, it's because I'm supposed to be doing something bigger than this, and I do have a big connection with connecting with beings from not this world. Like I had like a lot of visions of invasions, visions about different things.
we will
So
definitely touch on to that. Yeah.
yes. So yeah, it's just like more, being able to finally like feel comfortable to talk about it and just like but my family they're not accepting of this in some kind of way and like whenever I try to share my experiences with ayahuasca which is like a beautiful plant medicine they don't listen to me they don't want to listen the only person that will listen to me is my husband and I just told this story to my husband's father which actually like he believed me and it was like super like nice to have an adult listen to you about that.
Trust me, I understand. I grew up in the Bible Belt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And live here in Louisiana. And nobody in my family, except for my wife, nobody in my family or really friends like that I grew up with know what I do, that what I research. Yes, I talk
Mm-hmm.
about things. I drop breadcrumbs every now and then. I plant seeds, with either whatever it is, whatever kind of information I come across, like researching with
Mm-hmm.
ancient mysteries, UFOs, aliens, conspiracies, whatever. I try to plant seeds here and there, but I don't just tell them, "Hey, man, I got a podcast," because I will get. It's not that I'm afraid. I already know what's going to happen because they're not
Mm-hmm.
ready to hear everything I got to say. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
but something I was want to tell you. Um, when this happened last year, June of 2021, all this download that you had, everything that you was downloaded, and we're going to cover a lot more in part two of the interview. Um,
Mm-hmm.
was this all recalled and downloaded? Like when it all, I'm trying to think how I want to say it. When it everything was downloaded, when you came back to, like when your husband's there shaking you, it was only a few minutes to him. It seemed like it was a week or two for you. Was everything recalled like instant, or did it take a few days, a few months to grasp like what the hell just happened to me?
It took me a while, honestly. Like that. So while all of this was happening, it took like it got to a point where like they put me back on like so while they were showing me all of this, a different entity like try to get me from like the visions whenever I was like with the president, like the Roosevelt. They took me out of the vision. And when they took me out, that's whenever I started panicking because they wanted to like they wanted to take me with them. Whenever they start doing that, I was trying to fight to get out of that whole like thing that I'm in because I'm literally on the ether, like trying to escape from that person because that person had me grabbed from the back. He grabbed me from the whole vision and everything. Like so I'm like
Who who who
attached to him.
who grabbed you?
It was a different entity. So it was like a all black. It was like all like it looked like you know, like the cartoon that is like all black and it has like the whenever you're dead, like Santa Muerte, like the
Um,
Grieper, the Grief.
yeah, kind of like a Grim Reaper or something like that,
Yes, yes,
or
yes. And it was like,
something that goes around in this community, this research community, is shadow people, shadow beings.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Have you ever seen the movie? I'm gonna send you a movie because that so the things that are in that movie are super similar to what I saw. I just forgot the movie right now. But there's but it's like literally like it's just like some like a shadow like but they had like something that covers the whole thing and their face is like you can see their
It's
face.
cloaked.
It's all dark.
It's all cloaked. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
Wow.
came and grabbed me and like ever since so they grabbed me whenever they try to grab me I was trying to scream for help and everything and when I did that I did this with my hand and when I did this with my head I came to the room for 1 second. When I came to the room for 1 second I see my husband crying like he was doing this to me like pushing me and I couldn't hear him like talk or nothing. I just like saw him pushing me like trying to like get me back and then I just like look at him like with like the most terrified eyes and I told him I was like something is with me and that boom immediately like they took me back
Holy
to
shit.
like a ether. Yes. And he like that's when they were like shit, like that's whenever shit started getting real. Like he was like, what the fuck is going on? And he
Wow.
was trying to get me out and out. And during that thing, during like whenever that black entity had me, which I sent you pictures of this too, they made me grind this. They were like, um, they made me grind this, and my husband started yelling at me too, like to grind everything that I see. He bought me like I have it's like all wet and everything because I was crying. I don't know if you ever
Is
feel
that what
whenever
that
there's
was
a
from?
presence.
I saw that.
Yes, yes.
I was thinking you spilled something on the
No,
paper. Yes. And
I was
I will show
crying.
images on the screen for everybody to check
Yes,
that out. Wow. Oh my
yes.
God.
Because have you ever felt like whenever there's an energy so strong that you can talk, you can do nothing, you just start crying? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes. Yes.
So that
I'm
happened.
very in
So
touch with my feminine side. I promise you.
exactly.
My
So that's
spirit,
what happened
my
with my
feminine and spiritual.
husband.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what happened with my husband. He wasn't crying because he was scared of me. He was crying because there was like a force around me that it was so strong that he was like he started bawling like crying without wanting to cry. You feel me? Like he just made him crying, crying. Have you ever watched Steven Universe?
A what?
Steven Universe is a cartoon about crystals and stuff like that. Because
Uh,
they explain that. You probably don't, but yeah, it's just like a
I've watched a
reference.
lot of Stargate SG-1 that has a lot of crystals in there. It's like they go to another planet that's got a bunch of crystals and they hold this energy and they hold this information field within these energies. But uh so hey, before we end, like go ahead and go and
Yeah.
show some of the other depictions that you have in the because I know you had some notes wrote down too.
Yes, yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Yes, yes, yes. So I did have notes. So on this note, I don't know if you can, let me try to give me 1 second.
And I will show some of this stuff on screen also. There you go.
Yes. So on this one it says, magic beings try to erase your memory. You saw aliens like extraterrestrial. And then so during this one, the like shadow thing, it was kind of like trying to take me and like he kept telling me that everything that I saw it was a lie. And he kept telling me that I was crazy and he kept telling me that I have to forget everything they showed me, that I couldn't share this information with nobody. And then that's whenever I started writing all of this, and then I wrote.
Were you out? Were you not there physically in that room when was you like telepathically writing this down or
Yes, I
yours get
wasn't like
like
it was like
where
my like. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah.
well
No, I
I
wasn't
guess
like
yeah
in it.
you weren't what
No, I wasn't like I was like literally like I was still like in the vision or like inside the ether
you were still
whenever
in the
I was
ether in the
writing.
vision the void you were still seeing these slides and
Yeah,
everything was happening and you're writing this down.
yeah. So look what I started doing because every time I try to write, it started like just like moving my hand around, like I couldn't like center it down. So I started writing like all like this, And then here's where it says president, like the president was, he told me that the president was from it was like during the 1920s to 30s. So this who the president was. And that's whenever I realized that it was Roosevelt, that he was during these times.
Yeah.
And then it says, right here, it says grays and whites, which are the Pleiadians, come from the same dynasty. And then it says, like I was inside the spaceship right here. I was inside the spaceship and I flew with them. And there was like literally, I can't find that one. Did I look it up? There was one where I started telling myself, oh, right here. This one. It says, why should you be riding around when they erase everything from your head? Here.
Was the shadow being or the grim, what was that entity, that cloaked figure, was he telling you that?
Yes, he's the one who was telling me this. And it says everything that you believe to have seen, it was everything just a dream or a wish that you have been asking for so long. It says you wanted to see extraterrestrial and you saw them. You were in their spaceship, you saw a man and you saw some women. But they only saw it says like only from the chest up.
Wow.
And then like right here, it says guerra empezó cuando él firmó el contrato. The war started whenever the president signed the contract.
Repeat that.
Yeah, so this one, it says this is the last thing I wrote, and it says the war started whenever the president signed the contract.
Okay, Roosevelt was his presidential term was from 1933, March 4th, 1933 to April 12th of 1945. So are we talking about Roosevelt, of course, signing the contract?
Yes.
Like signing the contract, what war between the Pleiadians and Greys, or what? Or is that this invasion that you were talking about, or something? I know it's a lot to down. I know it's a lot, but just do it.
Yes. I honestly, like, being honest, the last part about the war, you want to know when I realized I wrote it? I realized I wrote that yesterday. Whenever I was like sending you the emails, and I didn't know this was here until yesterday. And I'm not sure if the war started whenever Roosevelt, like, I'm not sure if he's talking about that World War II or if he's talking about the Pleiadians and the Gray, that the war started there.
Or maybe they're talking about something to come in the future, possibly.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, hey, that one I cannot assure you.
Show people the paper, because I thought you spilled something on that. That's your tears while you're writing this? Oh my God. Show everybody right that.
Here. This is like the one.
And I'll have it on screen also. Yeah, you can see the watermarks. And the picture that I had on the email, I was like, man, I really thought you just spilled something. That's from your tears.
No.
That is insane.
Yes. And then it's ripped off because of my cat. My little cat ripped it off. But yeah, I've been trying to have it. I actually been having this locked up in a drawer since like I brought all of this down.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, we need to go ahead and end it there. There's a lot to digest, and the part 2, I'm going to try to have you on maybe this weekend, and that'll give me some time to write, and I'll try to upload this interview and give everybody a little teaser for what's to come, and that'll give me some time to digest some of this, and for you too, things that you left out, to think about, and you can write notes down. And man, Melissa, this was definitely mind-blowing. My mind is shocked. I don't even know what to say.
I really appreciate you for listening to me, because I was super nervous at first when I started talking to you, but then it just like literally started flowing. And it's like every time I talk about this, I'd be super nervous. I'd be super nervous because you don't know like how people is gonna react. But I really appreciate you for like listening to me. And like,
I'm an open book.
You really made me feel
I don't judge anybody because how do I know what you experienced? You know what I mean? I can't judge you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm an open
Exactly.
book. I'm with everything because I believe this world is so much mysterious and strange than what we were led to believe growing up in, in church and schools, what the mainstream media says. This world is a lot more strange and mysterious than people give it credit for. But Melissa,
Literally.
thank you very much for coming on the show, and we will definitely go into part two, probably this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it already. But you have a good evening, and we'll just see each other again this weekend.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me over.